The starship Aurora drifted silently through the dark reaches of the Solera sector. Stars glimmered around it like distant diamonds, but the beauty of the void could not hide the tension aboard the ship. Every member of the crew felt the weight of the mission they were about to undertake. Humanity had come far, colonizing new worlds and building alliances across the galaxy, but this mission, this one, was unlike anything they had faced before. Captain Alara Vance stood at the bridge, her hands clasped behind her back. She stared at the holographic display before her, showing the alien outpost on the planet Arcanus 9. The structure was a fortress of steel and energy, surrounded by a field of drones and automated defenses. Every reading indicated that a direct assault would be suicide. Even the most advanced human technology would struggle to break through. Beside her, Kryn, a tall, blue-skinned alien with glowing amber eyes, leaned over the display. His voice was low and cautious. "Alara, the plan has a 99% chance of failure," he said almost in a whisper. His tentacle-like fingers hovered over the controls, betraying his unease. Alara turned to him, a small, calm smile playing across her lips. "Then we will be the 1%, Kryn," she said softly. "Humanity has a way of surprising even the odds." Kryn shook his head, though there was a hint of admiration in his expression. He had seen humans accomplish feats that no alien intelligence could imagine. Humans were reckless sometimes, yes, but they were also clever in ways that no calculation could predict. The rest of the crew gathered around the bridge, a mix of humans and alien allies. Each member had been carefully chosen for their skills. Engineers, strategists, pilots, and scouts. All had trained for months to prepare for this operation. Still, the mission seemed impossible. Alara cleared her throat, drawing everyone's attention. "We are about to enter enemy territory. Their surveillance systems are advanced, and their response time is near instant. But we have an advantage: human creativity and adaptability. Plans are important, but improvisation is what saves lives. Remember that. We are not just following instructions. We are thinking, reacting, and winning." The crew nodded. Some faces were tight with anxiety, while others held steady confidence. They trusted Alara. She had led them through countless missions before, but this mission was different. The stakes were higher. Humanity's future depended on the success of this operation. The mission's objective was clear: infiltrate the alien outpost, gather intelligence about their new energy weapon, and return safely. If the weapon fell into the wrong hands, it could wipe out entire colonies. The aliens guarding the outpost were not known for mercy. They were efficient, precise, and relentless. Many species had tried to challenge them and failed. "Do we have a plan for extraction?" asked one of the engineers, a young human named Mira. She was nervous but determined, her hands fidgeting with her tools. Alara nodded. "Yes, but extraction will only work if the first steps go smoothly. We will have a stealth approach, using the shadows of the planet and our cloaking technology. From there, we move in small teams. Each team knows its role, but I want everyone ready to adjust if things change. Flexibility is our greatest weapon." The ship hummed as it entered the upper atmosphere of Arcanus 9. Outside, the planet was bathed in the light of its twin suns, golden and blue. The alien fortress loomed below, a network of towers and energy barriers. Drones patrolled the skies, their sensors scanning for intruders. Any wrong move could trigger an alarm, and then the mission would be over before it began. Alara turned to her pilots, twin sisters named Lyra and Sira. "Keep us steady and silent. Watch for any patrols and be ready to adapt. Remember, speed and precision are our friends." The twins nodded, their hands steady on the controls. They were the best pilots in the fleet, and their teamwork was unmatched. The Aurora glided closer to the planet, using the shadows of deep canyons to hide its approach. Below the ship, the outpost's defenses were visible even from orbit. Energy barriers pulsed with power, and drones circled the perimeter like hawks. Sensors marked their approach immediately. Alara studied the layout, noting every weak point, every patrol pattern. To anyone else, it might have looked like chaos, but Alara saw opportunity. "Timing is everything," she said quietly. "We move when the patrol shifts. We strike when they least expect it. Remember, we are not just infiltrating, we are making them underestimate us." The landing went smoother than expected. Small stealth pods detached from the Aurora and descended toward the planet. Inside, the teams were tense but focused. Each team member had a specific task and they trusted one another completely. Ilara led the main group, moving through the shadows like a ghost. The alien sensors scanned the area continuously, but humans had learned to adapt. One of the scouts, a human named Jace, had developed a device that could temporarily confuse the drone's visual sensors. A few clicks of his tool and the patrols passed right by them. Kryn's team followed closely. He was uneasy but fascinated by how quickly humans could react. One moment, a patrol drone appeared. The next, Ilara had signaled the team to flatten against the rock face, holding their breath as the machine passed mere meters away. Mira's group encountered a minor setback when a barrier generator unexpectedly powered up. Panic flickered across the team's faces, but Ilara thought fast. Using a combination of timing and a reflective panel from her pack, she redirected the energy pulse, creating a brief window to pass through safely. Kryn watched silently, impressed. No alien intelligence would have attempted such a maneuver. It was pure human improvisation. By nightfall, the teams had reached the outer perimeter of the fortress. Every step had been a test of patience, skill, and nerve. The aliens had predicted patterns, but humans adapted, and every adaptation brought them closer to their goal. Ilara paused to survey the area. She could feel the adrenaline coursing through her veins, but also a quiet determination. Humanity had faced impossible odds before and prevailed. The difference was in the mind, the courage, and the ability to think differently when all else seemed lost. "Everyone, take a moment to check your equipment," Ilara instructed. "We're about to enter the central zone. After this, there is no turning back until we complete the mission." The team obeyed, quietly checking weapons, scanners, and communication devices. Each member understood the risks. Yet, despite the fear, there was a sense of excitement. Humans thrived in situations like this not because they were reckless, but because they could see solutions where others saw only problems. Ilara turned to Kryn. "This is where our advantage matters most. Remember, we may be outnumbered, outgunned, and underestimated, but never outsmarted. Humanity has a habit of turning the impossible into reality. Watch and learn." Kryn gave a small, respectful nod. He had seen humans do remarkable things before, but there was a spark in Ilara that was unique even among her species. She smiled at him, a quiet reassurance that even if the mission seemed doomed, they would succeed. The teams moved forward, entering the fortress's outer defenses. The walls were high, made of a material that shimmered with energy. Every corridor was monitored, every door guarded. Yet humans found ways to slip through unnoticed. A small diversion here, a quick calculation there. Each step a careful dance between stealth and ingenuity. Hours passed. The tension was palpable, but the humans pressed on. Mira found a ventilation shaft that could lead them past the heavily guarded gates. Jace rigged a small energy pulse to distract the drones for exactly 30 seconds, just enough time for the team to pass through. Every action required precision, timing, and courage. Finally, as the first sun rose over Arcanus 9, the main team reached the inner courtyard of the outpost. They paused, surveying the area. Drones still patrolled, guards moved methodically, and sensors glimmered with energy. It was a fortress in every sense, yet humans stood ready. Ilara's voice broke the silence. "This is where it begins. Stay sharp, stay quiet, and trust in yourselves. Remember, a 99% chance of failure does not define us. We define what is possible." Her words echoed in the minds of every team member. For a moment, fear was replaced by determination. They were humans, and humans had a reputation for doing the impossible. And so, with hearts racing and minds focused, the team took the next step into the heart of the alien fortress. The mission had only begun, but already humanity's ingenuity was proving that even the impossible was worth trying. The inner courtyard of the alien fortress was a maze of steel towers and glowing energy barriers. The patrols moved like clockwork, drones hovering silently above, their sensors scanning every corner for intruders. To anyone else, the fortress would have seemed impenetrable, but to Ilara and her team it was a challenge, a puzzle waiting to be solved. Ilara motioned for the team to take cover behind a series of low walls. "We split into smaller units," she whispered. "One team goes to the central hub. Another creates a diversion. Timing is critical. Follow your training, but stay alert for anything unexpected." Kryn's group followed closely, still skeptical but increasingly impressed. "I still cannot believe humans are attempting this," Kryn muttered. Even with stealth technology, the risk is enormous. Ilara smiled faintly, her eyes scanning the patrols. Risk is part of being human, she said. We adapt. We overcome. That is what they do not predict. The first unit moved silently across the courtyard, hugging shadows, avoiding the lines of sight of the drones above. Mira led the scout team, her small frame slipping through tight spaces like a shadow. She adjusted the handheld device she carried, the one that disrupted energy sensors for short bursts. Every time she activated it, a nearby drone flickered, giving the humans just enough cover to move forward. Meanwhile, Ilara led the main team along the side of the courtyard. Her eyes never left the patrols, reading their movements like a complex puzzle. Every time a guard passed, she signaled her team to freeze. When a drone hovered too close, Jace used a quick pulse from his device to create a small blind spot. It was a delicate balance of timing, precision, and nerves. Almost there, Ilara whispered, pointing to a shadowed corridor leading deeper into the fortress. Keep close. Every second counts. Suddenly, a patrol drone changed its path unexpectedly, gliding directly toward Mira's team. Her heart skipped a beat, but she remembered her training. With a quick flick of her wrist, she activated her sensor disruptor. The drone's vision scrambled for a few seconds, just enough time for her team to slip past, pressed against the wall, holding their breaths. Kryn watched silently, impressed. Your species reacts without hesitation, he murmured. I have never seen such control under pressure. Ilara smirked. Control comes from trust. Trust in your skills and trust in each other. That is something humans do well. By now, the team had reached the base of the central hub, a towering structure pulsing with energy. The main door was heavily guarded, reinforced with alien metal that shimmered under the fortress lights. Sensors monitored every approach. A direct assault was impossible. Ilara studied the door carefully. We do not go through the front, she whispered. There is a maintenance shaft on the eastern side, small but sufficient for 2 at a time. That is our entry point. Mira and Jace moved ahead, slipping into the shadows toward the shaft. Ilara's team followed closely, timing their movements with the rotation of the patrols. Each step was dangerous, but they moved with a quiet determination that only humans could possess. Inside the maintenance shaft, the air was tight and metallic. The team crouched low, moving silently. It was dark, and the walls hummed with energy from the machinery above. The human team excelled in these conditions. Small, confined spaces did not intimidate them. They thrived on precision and ingenuity. As they advanced, Kryn whispered, The sensors here, I have never seen technology like this. Even a small mistake could alert the entire fortress. Ilara nodded. Exactly why we cannot make mistakes. Stay focused, stay calm, and think ahead. They emerged from the shaft into a dimly lit corridor. Energy pulses ran along the walls, illuminating the path with a faint blue glow. Guards patrolled in pairs, speaking in a language that was almost musical but harsh to the ear. The humans paused, observing the patterns. Timing was everything. Ilara's mind worked quickly. She devised a plan on the spot. Using small reflective panels from her kit, she redirected the corridor lights in such a way that it created shadows in unexpected spots. The guards paused, confused for a moment, allowing the humans to slip past unnoticed. It worked, Mira whispered, eyes wide. I did not think that was possible. Ilara only nodded. Human creativity often turned obstacles into opportunities. What seemed impossible to aliens could be simple to a human with the right thinking. They reached a junction that split into 3 paths. Ilara consulted her portable map. The left path leads to the communication room. The center is the main hub. The right leads to the energy core. We split into 2. I will take the main hub. Mira, Jace, you create a diversion in the communication room. Kryn, stay with me and help where needed. The diversion team moved quickly, setting small energy pulses to simulate intruders. The alarms triggered, drawing patrols away from the main hub. This gave Ilara and her team the window they needed. The main hub was massive, filled with alien consoles and glowing data streams. A single misstep could trigger the defenses. Ilara crouched low, scanning the environment. We need to extract the data without touching the central core directly, she instructed. Kryn, assist me in accessing the terminal. Humans have a way to bypass systems without triggering alarms. Kryn tilted his head, curious. He had seen human ingenuity before, but the subtlety with which they approached technology always amazed him. Show me, he said. Ilara moved quickly, her fingers flying across the terminal controls. Her team watched as she deployed a series of human-designed algorithms, exploiting weaknesses in the alien code. Lights flickered, sensors hummed, but alarms did not sound. In less than 10 minutes, the critical data had been copied onto their secure drives. Suddenly, a patrol drone rounded the corner. Jace had anticipated this, and a small pulse disabled its sensors temporarily. The drone faltered, giving the humans enough time to slip past. Every step had been calculated but adaptable. The humans reacted to changing circumstances instantly. Kryn finally understood. Your people. You do not just rely on technology or strength. You rely on the mind. That is your true weapon, Ilara smiled. Exactly. Technology can fail, numbers can overwhelm, but the mind can overcome any obstacle. That is why we succeed where others do not. The diversion team had completed their task, drawing patrols to the communication room. Mira and Jace rejoined the main group, and together they began the extraction toward the maintenance shaft. The fortress was on alert, but the humans had gained the upper hand. As they moved through the corridors, an unexpected obstacle appeared. A high-energy barrier had activated across their path. The team froze. It was impossible to bypass without triggering alarms that would alert the entire fortress. Ilara's mind raced. She looked around, analyzing every detail. A small ventilation conduit ran parallel to the barrier, too narrow for most, but humans were adaptable. With careful coordination, she signaled her team. One by one, they squeezed through the narrow opening, using their smaller size and flexibility to their advantage. Kryn followed, amazed at their daring and precision. Outside, the diversion had succeeded. Patrols had been drawn away, giving the humans a clear path back to the courtyard. They moved quickly, hearts racing, but every step controlled. Humans were unpredictable, fast-thinking, and precise, qualities that gave them the edge over even the most advanced alien forces. As they reached the exit, a final obstacle appeared. A patrol of elite alien soldiers had returned early, spotting the humans just as they prepared to leave. The team paused, calculating their next move. Ilara's eyes glinted with determination. We improvise, she said. Trust in your skills. Trust in humanity. Using a combination of speed, distraction, and precise timing, the humans created a small explosion in the courtyard to draw attention elsewhere. They darted through shadows, using the terrain and cover to evade the soldiers. Kryn followed, impressed at every step. I have never seen such coordination under extreme pressure, he muttered. Finally, they reached the stealth pods waiting outside the fortress. Ilara activated the cloaking device, and the pods lifted silently into the air, disappearing into the shadows above. The fortress was left in confusion, unaware of the humans' success. As the pods reunited with the Aurora, the team allowed themselves a brief moment to breathe. Hearts pounded, hands shook, but smiles appeared on their faces. Humanity had once again overcome what seemed impossible. Ilara looked at her team, pride shining in her eyes. We faced the impossible and survived. That is what it means to be human. We adapt, we overcome, we turn the odds in our favor. Kryn nodded, a newfound respect in his eyes. Your species is extraordinary. You do not fear failure, and yet you respect the challenge. That is rare in the galaxy. Ilara only smiled quietly. Humanity thrived in situations others deemed hopeless. The impossible was just another challenge to overcome. As the Aurora slipped silently back into space, the fortress below remained unaware of the minds that had outsmarted it. And humanity, as always, had proven that even against all odds they could succeed. The Aurora hovered silently in orbit above Arcanus 9, a shadow among the stars. The humans aboard were exhilarated by their success so far, yet Ilara knew that the mission was far from over. They had managed to infiltrate the fortress, gather critical data, and escape the immediate threat, but the central core, where the alien energy weapon was located, still posed a danger greater than anything they had faced. Ilara gathered her team in the briefing room. The glow from the viewport highlighted the tension in every face. We have succeeded in our first objective, she said calmly. But the core remains inaccessible. The data we took will help us understand their weapon, but we still need confirmation of its exact specifications. We cannot leave Arcanus 9 without ensuring it cannot be used against humanity. Kryn folded his arms, his glowing amber eyes reflecting the starfield outside. The central core is guarded beyond anything you have encountered. Even with stealth, intrusion will be almost impossible. If the previous steps were risky, this This is near suicidal. Alara smiled faintly. Then we must rely on what humans do best: thinking, adapting, and acting under pressure. That is our advantage. They expect us to fail because the probability says so. But humans are unpredictable. We turn the improbable into reality. The team nodded. They had already seen their leader's calm confidence in action. Human ingenuity was like nothing the galaxy had ever witnessed. Even Kryn had to admit reluctantly that their success so far had been remarkable. The next day, the team descended toward the core facility. The area surrounding it was a network of energy barriers, patrolling drones, and alien soldiers. Every movement was calculated, every step under constant observation. A single misstep could trigger a lockdown, trapping them inside the fortress with no way out. Alara motioned for the team to take cover behind a cluster of jagged rocks. "This is it," she whispered. "We need a distraction large enough to draw the patrols away, but precise enough not to trigger the central alarm." Mira and Jace exchanged glances. They had been in tense situations before, but the central core was something entirely different. It hummed with energy, almost alive, and the hum seemed to echo in their minds. It was intimidating, but they trusted Alara's plan. Alara raised a hand and pointed to a ridge above the patrols. "We'll deploy the energy pulse devices here. The idea is simple: create chaos at the edge while we slip through the perimeter. Timing must be perfect. Follow my lead." The humans moved with quiet precision. Mira set the first device on the ridge while Jace handled the second. The countdown was synchronized with the patrol's movements, ensuring that the drones would investigate the false threat. Alara watched closely. When the devices activated, a burst of energy flashed across the ridge and alarms blared in the distance. Patrols scrambled toward the source, leaving the path to the core slightly less defended. Humans took advantage of the opening, moving like shadows through the chaos. As they neared the core facility, the real challenge began. The entrance was guarded by a force field unlike any they had seen. Kryn studied it and shook his head. This cannot be bypassed without triggering a security lockdown. The sensors are linked to the core directly. Alara's mind raced. We do not attack, we adapt. Look for the gaps, the timing, the patterns. There is always a weakness. The team crouched behind cover, observing the energy field. It pulsed rhythmically, almost like a heartbeat. Alara noticed a slight delay each time the field reset. "There," she whispered. "Every cycle has a window. We move when it pulses lowest. It is small, barely 2 seconds, but it is enough." One by one, the humans sprinted through the gap, their movements timed perfectly. Mira and Jace covered the rear, ensuring no patrols saw them. Even Kryn, with his size and unfamiliarity with human agility, managed to slip through thanks to careful guidance. Inside the core facility, the air was thick with energy. Holographic displays flickered, showing alien readings and projections. The core itself was a massive sphere, humming with unimaginable power. This was what the aliens had been guarding, the weapon that could destroy colonies in minutes if activated. Alara approached the control panel. She studied it, analyzing the complex symbols and energy flows. "This is unlike anything we have seen," Kryn whispered. "Even touching the console could trigger catastrophic security measures." Alara nodded. "Exactly why we cannot rely on brute force. We must outthink it." She activated a portable interface, a human-designed device capable of translating alien code in real time. Her fingers moved quickly, interpreting symbols, finding patterns, and identifying weak points in the system. The tension in the room was almost unbearable. Each second felt like a minute. The hum of the core grew louder, resonating in their chests. Then a new threat emerged. An automated defense system activated, sending a wave of security drones into the chamber. Alara's eyes narrowed. "Prepare to improvise. Remember, humans are unpredictable. That is our advantage." The drones advanced, but humans were faster. Using their environment, they ducked behind consoles, leaped over energy conduits, and created makeshift barriers with whatever was at hand. Mira disabled one drone with a precise pulse from her handheld device, while Jace redirected another by hacking its guidance system in real time. Kryn marveled at their coordination. Alara finally found the vulnerability in the core's system. Using the interface, she bypassed the primary safeguards, allowing the humans to access the critical data. Files, schematics, and energy projections downloaded onto their secure drives. The core's energy hummed around them almost like it sensed their intrusion, but the humans did not falter. Suddenly, the main security alert triggered. Red lights flooded the room, alarms blared, and a new set of elite soldiers approached from the main corridor. The humans were trapped with reinforcements closing in from all sides. Ilara paused, thinking fast. "Split into pairs," she ordered. "Use the side corridors. The exit path is narrow, but we can make it. Move with precision. Trust your instincts." The team obeyed instantly. Mira and Jace led one pair, Kryn and two others another. Ilara stayed with the remaining members, guiding them carefully. Every step was calculated. They used small diversions, temporary blockades, and even gravity shifts in the facility to disorient their pursuers. One of the elite soldiers cornered Mira, who had no time to hesitate. Using a combination of agility and her environment, she vaulted over a console and ducked behind a metal pillar. The soldier pursued, but a sudden blast from Jace's device forced it to retreat temporarily. Every move was a dance of survival, and humans excelled in improvisation. Ilara noticed a larger obstacle, a massive energy door blocking their main path. It required several seconds to open, time they could not afford. Her mind raced. Then she saw a small maintenance hatch at the side. Too small for most, but humans were adaptable. "Through the hatch," she instructed calmly. "One at a time. Speed is key." One by one, the humans squeezed through the narrow opening, some barely managing to fit. Kryn followed, surprised by the sheer determination and flexibility of his human allies. Outside the hatch, the corridors led to the extraction point where their stealth pods awaited. As they neared the pods, the final challenge appeared, another wave of patrols. Ilara calculated the timing using shadows, reflective surfaces, and the chaos of the alarms to slip past undetected. The humans moved with grace and precision, proving once again that unpredictability and intelligence were humanity's greatest weapons. Finally, the team reached the pods. Ilara activated the cloaking device just as the alien reinforcements closed in. The pods lifted silently, disappearing into the night sky above Arcanus 9. The fortress below erupted in confusion, alarms blaring, but the humans were gone. Inside the pods, the team allowed themselves to relax for the first time in hours. Hearts still racing, sweat on their brows, but smiles on their faces. They had faced the central core, overcome near-impossible odds, and emerged victorious. Ilara looked at her team, pride shining in her eyes. "We have done something extraordinary. The probability of failure was almost certain, yet we succeeded. That is the power of human ingenuity, courage, and adaptability." Kryn nodded, a rare expression of awe on his face. "I have witnessed something remarkable. Your species does not fear the impossible. You respect the challenge, but you do not surrender to it. That is rare in the galaxy." Ilara smiled quietly. "We are human. When the odds are against us, we rise higher. That is who we are." The Aurora turned toward open space, leaving Arcanus 9 behind. Humanity had proven that even the impossible could be achieved with determination, creativity, and teamwork. And though the mission was not yet complete, the team knew that the greatest challenge had been overcome. For the humans aboard the Aurora, the turning point was clear. Probability might say failure, but human ingenuity could always rewrite the rules. The Aurora glided silently through the cold darkness of space, leaving the chaotic lights of Arcanus 9 behind. Inside the ship, the crew finally allowed themselves a moment to breathe. The mission had been long, dangerous, and nearly impossible, but against all odds, they had succeeded. Critical intelligence about the alien energy weapon had been secured, and every team member had returned safely. Ilara stood on the bridge, gazing at the stars. The galaxy stretched endlessly before them, full of wonders and threats alike. She could feel the weight of the mission lift slightly, replaced by a quiet satisfaction. Humanity had done what many thought impossible, and she knew the lessons from this operation would echo far beyond this single mission. Mira, still catching her breath, approached Ilara with a wide grin. "We did it. I can't believe we actually did it." Ilara smiled, placing a hand on Mira's shoulder. "Believe it. We planned carefully, adapted quickly, and trusted each other. That is what makes humans remarkable. Even against impossible odds, we rise." Kryn, standing nearby, looked at the team with newfound respect. "Your species, I have underestimated you. I thought probability defined your success. I see now that your courage, creativity, and determination are what truly matter." Ilara nodded. "Probability is just a number. It does not account for ingenuity, teamwork, or the human spirit. That is what the aliens could never predict. That is why we succeed. The rest of the crew joined them on the bridge, their faces reflecting relief, exhaustion, and pride. Each member knew the mission's stakes. Entire colonies depended on the data they had retrieved. Failure could have meant the end of many human settlements, but now, humanity had a chance to protect itself and continue its exploration of the galaxy. Jace, ever the pragmatic engineer, spoke up. The data we recovered shows the weapon is still experimental. With the right strategies, we can neutralize it before it becomes a threat. The aliens may have underestimated us, but now we understand them better than ever. Ilara's gaze softened as she looked at her team. And that is why we do what we do. Not for glory, not for recognition, but for the safety and future of humanity. Every decision, every risk, every daring move, it all matters. That is why we persevere. As the crew relaxed, the communications officer reported a message from the Human Command Center. Captain Vance, your mission report is being transmitted to the Galactic Council. The Council acknowledges the successful completion of the mission. They commend your crew for courage, ingenuity, and flawless execution under extreme conditions. A murmur of pride spread through the bridge. The humans exchanged glances, silently acknowledging that their hard work, quick thinking, and teamwork had not gone unnoticed. Ilara leaned back in her chair, her mind reflecting on the mission. The infiltration, the diversions, the daring bypass of the core, it had all relied not only on skill but on trust. Trust in their training, trust in their instincts, and trust in one another. Every human action had made the difference between success and failure. Kryn approached her again, his expression thoughtful. I have studied your species for many years, Captain. I have observed your technology, your ships, and your strategies. But it is not these alone that make you formidable. It is your spirit. Your ability to adapt, to think creatively, to face fear without hesitation. These are the traits that define humanity. Ilara smiled softly. We are humans, Kryn. We face challenges head-on, not because we are fearless, but because we believe in overcoming them. Every obstacle is an opportunity to learn, to grow, and to prove that nothing is truly impossible. The team gathered for a debrief in the mission room. Large holograms displayed the alien fortress, patrol routes, energy barriers, and the path they had taken. Each success, each improvisation was highlighted as a point of learning for future missions. Mira leaned forward, excitement in her voice. I never imagined we could bypass the core's defenses. The timing, the improvisation, it felt impossible, but it worked perfectly. Ilara nodded.
That is the lesson.
Impossible is only a probability, not a certainty. The more we rely on creativity, adaptability, and teamwork, the more we redefine what is possible. Today, we have proven that even against overwhelming odds, humanity can succeed. Kryn added, It is clear to me now that your species' strength is not measured by numbers, technology, or power alone. It is measured by the mind, the courage to act, and the willingness to adapt in situations where failure seems inevitable. That is why you endure. Ilara's smile widened. Exactly. And that is what the galaxy must learn. That humanity cannot be predicted, cannot be confined, and will always rise to the challenge. The crew spent the next hours analyzing the data they had collected. Every schematic, every energy reading, and every alien protocol was carefully recorded. Their efforts would ensure that humanity could defend itself against future threats and continue to expand safely into the stars. As night fell over the ship, the team gathered in the observation deck. The galaxy stretched endlessly before them, filled with countless stars and planets. The darkness of space no longer felt threatening. It felt like a canvas of possibility, a reflection of humanity's potential. Ilara stood in the center, watching her team. We have achieved something remarkable, she said softly. But this is only one step. The universe is vast, and there will always be challenges. But remember this, every obstacle is an opportunity. Every impossibility is a chance to prove what humans can do. Kryn, standing beside her, nodded thoughtfully. I will return to my people and speak of what I have seen. The human spirit is unlike anything the galaxy has known. Your ingenuity, courage, and determination are unmatched. I have learned more from this mission than I ever expected. Ilara placed a hand on his shoulder. Then share what you have learned. Humanity thrives not just in survival, but in the hope and inspiration we leave behind. That is our true strength. The team fell silent, each member lost in their own thoughts. They had faced near impossible odds, overcome advanced defenses, and returned with success. Every challenge, every danger, every risk had been met with courage, quick thinking, and determination. Mira broke the silence with a smile. "I guess we really are the 1%. Alara laughed softly. "Yes, and that 1% is enough. One person, one team, one species, sometimes that is all it takes to change the course of the universe." As the Aurora sailed through the stars, the mission's significance settled over the crew. They had not only completed a critical operation but had demonstrated what humanity was capable of: resilience, ingenuity, and the ability to turn near-certain failure into victory. Alara reflected quietly on the events of the past days. From the stealthy infiltration to the daring bypass of the central core, every moment had tested the limits of human skill and creativity, and yet they had succeeded. That success was not luck. It was the result of thinking, adapting, and believing in one another. Kryn's gaze lingered on the humans, admiration clear in his eyes. "Your species has something special. Something no algorithm, no prediction, no weapon can ever defeat. That is your gift, the power to think, to adapt, and to rise above even the greatest challenges." Alara nodded. "That is what we are. Humanity is not defined by probabilities or predictions. We are defined by what we can achieve, even when the odds say we should fail. That is our strength. That is why we endure. That is why we will always rise." The team remained on the observation deck, gazing at the stars. The galaxy was vast, full of threats and opportunities alike. Yet humanity's place among the stars felt secure, not because they had conquered everything, but because they had proven that nothing could stop the human spirit when it faced the impossible. As the Aurora continued its journey, the team shared quiet moments of laughter, relief, and camaraderie. They knew the galaxy held many challenges yet to come, but they also knew that no matter the odds, humans would rise to meet them. Creativity, courage, and determination were weapons more powerful than any technology, and the universe had learned to respect them. Alara smiled, looking at her team one last time before returning to the bridge. "We have done well," she said softly, "but this is only the beginning. Humanity will continue to explore, to learn, and to overcome. That is our legacy. That is what we do." The Aurora sailed onward into the endless night, a small beacon of hope, courage, and ingenuity. Humanity had faced the impossible and had emerged victorious. And in the vast expanse of the galaxy, the human spirit shone brighter than any star.